What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. For I'm not gonna call it a season recap. It's transfer window. It's open. Season is done. Finally, I'm gonna say. Uh, with me today is Dash. How are you doing?
I'm good. Just ready to dive into this news. How about you, Alejandro?
I'm doing good. Busy day, but I made it. I made it to the live. It was close, but I made it. Oh, let me see if this is connected. Yeah, it's connected. Okay. So the season is done. I don't think we're gonna. I think we will talk about it moving forward. When we move into the transfer season more, because some things, I think a lot of not leaks, but some things will come up during these couple of weeks. You will hear some leaks from Dybala's side. Players leaving or just forced out of the club. They will speak. 100% they will. So we're not gonna talk about the game. I will ask you one quick question because I asked that in the group chat I have with Julian and Justin. I asked them. I didn't ask. I said like, if it hurts watching Milan celebrate. It hurts. Because I see them and I see us, and I'm like, we are. I want to say miles off because it's not that they have a super team. Like they're better than us still. So I was like, it hurts. It stinks sitting here like scraping top four and watching this. Does and they both said I don't really care basically because the season has been so bad. Like I'm numb to it. How do you feel about that?
I feel petty. Like I feel annoyed about it because the thing is like it's the fans that irritate me more than the team itself that won. It's just because like some of the comments that were being made, like oh my god, like they're the greatest franchise ever. They beat Inter, they beat us, and yada yada yada. Where it's like you know it's one of those lesser two evils that the guy said in the late night show last night about it, where it's like, I'd rather have Milan win than Inter, but like it's just for me, it's like their fans are what really rubbed me the wrong way. It's like you guys were banter for 10 years and you got, you won in a really weird year, so it's like relax. Like it's some of these Milan fans act like they won 9 in a row, and it's just one of those things where I'm like, guys, like you're not going to win it again next year. I can guarantee you that. So it's just like enjoy your win, just move on.
Phew, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Depending on like what I'm reading, transfer wise, what they want to do, they're not gonna go away. They're not gonna go away. They're gonna be
Yeah,
there.
I don't think so. I don't think they're going to disappear, but I do think that I think they're going to get more of a challenge next year instead of just Inter being their only competition. And I don't think Inter is going to bottle a 12-point lead again.
Yeah, they were 12 points up at one point. That's actually insane if you think
Yeah.
about it. And if yeah, again, like it doesn't matter. Like also, it's not a certainty that we will be much better. Like we expect to be much better. Like it's never certain. You still need to play, and yeah, let's see. Um, let me see. I need to check. Okay. Yeah. So this video or this live is gonna be unless something new breaks, but I don't expect that. Uh, I think this season or like this season, this Monday, this week, I'm all over the place. This Monday, I think they actually met. The board and Allegri. Not that they didn't do that. Let me see. 'Cause I see. I cannot listen. I saw news popping off. So let me see. Um. Okay, it's a crap source, so I'm not gonna mention it. I think this Monday, I think they met. Allegri and the board. Not to say what are we going to do because they've done that before. It's just to I think to finalize, but like for Allegri to get height of the situation. This is possible. This is not really possible, and all those things. So I think that happened today. That's why we didn't hear a lot of new things coming out because people expected Pogba to be done or Di Maria to be done today.
Mhm.
I don't think like going off the vibes from today. I don't think it's gonna be this week either. Um, but we will talk about that also. And I'm gonna make a video because people they believe everything. You know, they flip flop within a few minutes. Oh, that source is saying that. Yeah, it's not happening. You know, and then I look up the source. I'm like, it's horrendous. Like, chill. You know,
Yeah.
it's you need to
Well, you
chill.
saw it this morning. What was it? The Zidane rumors to PSG, where they're like, "Oh
All,
yeah, Zidane's
all,
going
all
back to
and they,
PSG."
and people making up
Um,
own stories. Oh, he's pushing to get Pogba. I'm like, oh, send me the source. He's like, no, it's a feeling. I'm like, okay, what are you banning? Like, it's a transfer. So again, I don't tweet out anything. I don't tweet out everything. Excuse me. Like Tutor Sport is basically the lowest I go. People say Calcio Mercato, but they picked it up over the last 2 years. I would say they got some decent journalists now. Um, so I'm not putting like when I hear things about like Mundo Deportivo, if it's about a Spanish player, I will tweet it out. If they talk about Juve, like, and it's not linked to a Spanish player, I'm like, yeah, no, you know. So all those things. So people need to chill because it's gonna be a long 3 months, you know. If you do that, you're gonna
yeah.
lose your head. So just chill, relax. We cannot change anything about it. So it is what it is. But the show is Allegri's transfer list. It's from Tuttosport, so I know people say, "Ah, how did they know?" They don't know, you know. But we need something to talk about, and it's kind of interesting because I think there is a list, you know, and based on the list, and we will go through it. You will see um, there are levels to it, you know, in terms of realistic and non-realistic. And even saying, tell yourself to chill. I'm chill. Like I don't. I'm calm. Like compared to the other twos on the channel, I'm very calm because I. Okay, so after 3 4 years doing this, you know, just account, I know what's true or like not true, but I know what you need to put value in and not, you know, and to stay calm. And because people read anything, like I saw people going mad of a news report. It's 4 days old, but one big account tweeted it out today. So they made it look like it was new news. It wasn't news. When you look it up, it's 4 days old. So that's okay. That's the problem of the account tweeting it out, but also for yourself. Yeah, dig into it because some things they don't make sense. So you don't need to believe anything, everything, just because you read it on Twitter. But okay. So the list is we will start off with the Mezzala role. And there's only one name on that list according to the sport, and it's Pogba. So I think that's fairly easy to
Mhm.
discuss because that's the main target at the moment, obviously. Um, Romeo tweeted out basically nothing. Like he tweeted out to tweet out. Like there's nothing new. Said there's a meeting today. They're confident. You know, everybody's saying they're confident. So we should feel confident. You know, there's no reason to suggest we need to panic unless you make up stories like the Zidane one. Like there's not even one source saying that. So crazy. But yeah, the Mezzala role is Pogba. That's the only one. So I think we can skip that because we talked about Pogba and we will talk
Mhm.
about Pogba for a while. So let's move on to the winger. And to Sport named 3 players. It's Di Maria, Perisic, and Zaniolo. Now we can forget about Perisic after the
Yeah,
news that
because
broke.
he's pretty much renewing.
He's renewing. Nico Shiro said there's no talks anyway, like no offer from Juve. And I said it at the beginning. I'm like, don't believe it. You know, I think we were interesting just because he's free, an opportunity, but I don't think we offered 6 million euros. I don't believe that. So we scrapped that one off the list. It's Di Maria Zaniolo. With Di Maria, well, obviously leading the race. And if you sign him, I think you need to forget about Zaniolo. Or do you think it's still possible to get Zaniolo even with Di Maria?
No, I think the days of Little Z are done. I don't see them going or making a move for him whatsoever because he's not going to play in a 4-3-3 as a wide winger. It's just, especially with Mourinho converting him more into a central role. I don't see him fitting. He's going to be, and I'm not going to trigger anybody by saying this. I hope not, but he's essentially a Dybala 2.0 where you don't know where you play him per se in an Allegri system. So it's just going to cause a tactical issue. So it wouldn't make sense to go after him.
I agree. And I'm even saying panic strokes, yes, but those were from good sources. Those were from good sources. You know, I don't know what you're talking about. What she's talking about is Berendisky, and they were from good sources until Romeo said no. So I was calm. Yeah, that gave me a stroke. But like the Cherby thing, I said it at the time. I like the source is crap. Like it's absolutely crap. You know, but I'm not gonna lose my mind off someone on Twitter making up a story about Zidane and Pogba. Or Mundo Deportivo saying Di Maria offered himself to Barcelona, and then you read the article. It's like weeks ago. I'm like, oh, like what are we doing? And then some people tweeted out like it's breaking news. It is not breaking news. So that's on you. Like if you want to panic about that, I'm not gonna panic. I'm chill. I'm very chill. So yeah. So we can skip that also. So it's Di Maria. He's the main target. And I agree. I don't think Saniolo is possible. If you get Di Maria, it's done.
Yeah. And the thing that I'm a little bit curious is because there's only 3 names and we still have 3 more months to go. I think there's no way that I think the club just gets Di Maria and then just parks it and says, okay, cool, we don't need any other wingers. I think there's going to be 1 or 2. It's probably going to be someone that we're not too familiar with. That's there that'll essentially come out. I think right now the club is going for the big names. So like for example, they're trying to it's like in every sports free agency when all the big name players are on the market, they get swept up first, and then we'll get some stopgaps because I think that they're gonna look for maybe 1 or 2 wingers that fill in like a substitute or a rotational role later in the summer because there's gonna be for sure a left winger that's gonna hold the fort down until Chiesa gets back because I know, well, it depends on the new medical staff that the club gets whether or not we see Chiesa in November or December of this year. So I think they're going to look for someone that isn't, a 1A winger, but more of like a 1B or a 1C that can essentially help dilute the load of the offense with Chiesa gone.
I agree. So also, Ahmed, I saw you became a member. Not during a live, so you can join the Discord members group if you want to join that. The link is under the community tab. If you cannot find it, just DM me on Twitter, Justin or Julian, or the main account, and I'll sort that out so you can be in the private members group on Discord. So yeah. So we move on to the strikers. Again, the Suto Sports list. They named 2 strikers. It's Raspadori and it's Gabriel Jesus. Now, Keane asked to leave. He asked to leave. But with Leonardo being sacked by PSG, I think it changed things completely. And I think we're going to be stuck with him. Morata is going back at the moment. Raspadori will cost around 30 mil. Gabriel Jesus, he will cost more. I know he has a 1-year deal only. But like Arsenal want him, there's competition, so the price will be up. So let's say it's 35 to 40 mil. I think we can scrap Gabriel Jesus. I don't think we're gonna buy 40 million Gabriel Jesus to be the backup to Vlahovic.
Yeah.
I don't think Gabriel Jesus wants to do that. That's why
No.
I think he also wants to leave PSG City because he knows he's gonna be the backup to Haaland. So out of those 2 names, I think it's just Raspadori at the moment. And you hear names as Arnautovic. I saw Mitrovic from Fulham. Like he's playing at Fulham. He's going back to the Premier League. Why would he come to be the backup to Vlahovic? And people can say the same about Raspadori, but Raspadori can also play different positions. It's not his best position to play different positions. It's not the best for him, but he can do it. He can do it.
Yeah.
So.
And with him, I think it's going to be if Raspadori comes, he's going to play on the left side of the left winger until Chiesa comes back because I believe that's what Sassuolo uses him when he plays with them because it'll be him, Scamacca, and then Berardi as a front 3 essentially. Another name that's not on there that I think might be worth looking at is Giacomo Veroni. He's one of our under 23s that we loaned out to WSG Wattens. He's scored again today in their Europa League playoff game. They won 2-1 against Lask. Right now, he's got 20 goals in about 29 matches in Austria, and it's the same league where Holland came in. I don't know whether or not what his thoughts are, but I think he plays a center forward role, so I think he could be a good backup to Vlahovic. But I mean, it's on Veroni if he wants to come back and play. I know he's coming back in the summer because it was only a 1-year loan deal, so we might see him in the preseason and see how he does. But I mean, as far as potential backup, we might be able to use him, or if anything, we could use him as a trade piece or a selling piece to get some money because first season to drop 20 goals in his first season in a different league is pretty impressive, especially coming off an ACL injury.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think he's gonna say he's having a good season, but I've watched him before he left. I think the club will cash in on some way. At the moment, I'm running the Twitter account, so yes. Misak is saying, I hope we don't get Raspadori because I feel it's gonna be the same problem as having Dybala. Not really. Like he can
No,
play as a 9, Raspadori. He can play as a 9. Dybala cannot play as a 9 and 4-3-3. He can. Like I'm sorry, he can, and he cannot play on the wing also. So I'm not sure about that. Hanina is
yeah,
saying I expect those guys to play alongside Vlahovic, not as a sub. Yeah, that's not gonna happen because if Allegri is gonna play 4-3-3, Chiesa's gonna start, and apparently Di Maria is gonna start, and there's no room for them. And also, I don't want Gabriel Jesus on the wing. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of that. I not, and especially not Raspadori. Like I don't like it. If you have Chiesa and Di Maria, I don't want to see a Gabriel Jesus on the wing or a Raspadori on the wing because the other two guys are more effective in that position, in my opinion. So I think they're looking for a sub. Again, Raspadori is not going to be Vlahovic's main sub. Like he will play different positions, but like if you're getting linked to Mitrovic and Arnautovic, then you're looking for a Vlahovic sub. A real number 9. So let's see. I saw a comment, but it went away.
I saw one that says Broja is vice Vlahovic.
Who?
Yeah, it's from John Cena. I don't know if you know him, Alejandro, but his name's Armando Broja. He plays for Southampton. He's owned by Chelsea, but they've loaned him out to Southampton. And he's kind of like a baby Vlahovic, where they're almost the same play style. It's just that Broja is more of a sprinter versus a physical player, where he has the physicality, but he's fast as well, and he can create shots out of nowhere.
But we need like that needs to be okay. You have Keane now, but we have seen Keane. So we need a sub. Like Hanim saying, everyone's expecting 43, but with Allegri, I don't expect one formation. No, I agree. You will twitch it, but I think 43 is gonna be his main position, especially if you are like lobbying for Di Maria, like, and you're banking on Chiesa. Like with the names we're being linked with, it screams more 4-3-3 rather than whatever. But he's never gonna stick to one. I agree 100% with that. But I think it's gonna be the main one, 4-3-3. Let me see. Misak is saying more like a dribbling and technical number 9 than a physical one. I would say yes, but then you get linked with Mitrovic and Arnautovic, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. Then like that completely is different because those guys are like box present
Yeah, they
peasants,
are.
or essentially where they just literally sit there and tap the sucker in, which I mean isn't a bad thing. But the question is do we have the service that goes into it? Because if we don't have the service, then it's like they're just there. You're playing a guy down because they don't really offer much on the defensive side.
I agree. So I'm just going off links. What I want is something different. Let me see because I cannot watch anything now, so I need to read if something. Yeah, but like I will read it out, but it's not my main source. It's Top Calcio. It's like Sportsman, Sky Sports on Italian TV. And one of those guys saying Juve is going for Milinkovic Savic. It's not like it's not certain that he will arrive, but the club will try, even though it's difficult. Like I think it's Lisa's reporting at the moment. Taking advantage of what the fans want. I don't see that happening. But yeah, whatever. Also, guys, almost 50 people watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Also, our store is online because people asked if we can sell shirts. The one I'm wearing, black and white. The link is pinned in the comments, so you can get one. So yeah, that's that. Let's move on to the mediano. So that's basically defensive midfielder, basically. Tutu Sport is listing two names. It's Paredes and Thomas Partey, which is weird because Thomas Partey is not really a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
So I was kind of confused about it because I think they mean Thomas Partey because I read an article the day before with them linking us with Thomas Partey. So I'm confused about that. So forget about that. I don't think Thomas Partey is coming. I don't think Arsenal will sell. Also, he's kind of injury prone, which is worrying ever since he left Atletico Madrid. So is Paredes at the moment. And
Yeah.
the Paredes link is just because PSG wanted Keane. But now Leonardo left. I don't think so. I don't want Paredes, by the way. Like,
Yeah, I don't even think he's going to be on that list, just because there's what Pochettino's leaving. So with Leonardo gone, there's going to be a new director and a new coach. So it's a big question mark. If Paredes is going to surface as an option, it's probably going to be mid-July to August where we see something. And then I don't know how credible these sources are, but there is some sources saying that Cherubini is in London discussing things with Chelsea and Arsenal, and Jorginho's popped up again because of it. But they don't even have an owner, so how are they going to be able to sell Jorginho?
Giovanni Albanese said, like, at the moment, Jorginho's not the target for the reasons you're listing. Like, there's no owner. He wants to actually stay, but nobody knows what's going. That's why Rudiger, like, he said that. Like, he said, I waited, but like, there's no clarity, so I need to make a decision for my future. Like Chelsea have a lot of things to do. Like Rudiger is gone on a free. Aspilicueta, Alonso, like they're losing everyone, so they're in kind of danger. But yeah, the Paredes link, I think it's easy because they wanted Keane. It's just easy, you know, make a swap. We throw Paredes in the mix. You know, I don't think that's something serious. I hope it's nothing. I keep saying it. I forgot he was playing.
I don't think he's like an actual like target where we need to get him. I think it was just kind of like rumors of like here, well, because I know PSG didn't want to drop 28 or 30 million for Keane by itself, so they're like, hey, we'll give you Paredes and then we'll give you 10 million just to, you know, to call it a deal, because I don't see PSG paying 30, 40 million for Keane off of the season he just had, because Juventus isn't going to sell him for lower than the obligation. So I think the obligation was 28 million. So I don't see the club taking a capital loss on Keane. So they would have put in Keane, and then the club would have gave him Keane and or Paredes and money just to make the deal seem like it's not a capital loss for the club. So that's what I think. That's why the only reason he's on there. Other than that, I don't. There isn't. We're gonna, even right now with the whole like PSG news, there isn't a you know, we're still going to go for Keane for Paredes swap. I think that was just literally something that was dropped at the one time, and that's it. There isn't anything new on it.
Yeah, it's like, I won't say it's like the Pogba links every year, like every year
Yeah,
Paredes. It's to some capacity, but to be honest, like the sources are not amazing that have linked us to Paredes at the moment. You know, that's why I'm like chill. I'm just saying my opinion is I don't like Paredes. I don't like it. Also, like a DM, I think Allegri needs, if he wants, like he needs more of a regista knowing Allegri, not really a DM, in my opinion, and especially not Paredes.
Yeah, because it'll be interesting to see, because like when you look at the 4-3-3, you can either have it in a defensive trident or an offensive trident, or you just have a straight flat three in the middle. So I mean, because even back then, like with Pjanic, because he played a 4-3-3 in 2018, 2019, and then the year before that, he played it for 2 seasons. And it's like he would have Pjanic in the middle, but Pjanic would also go forward too. Like Pjanic wouldn't just sit in top of the defense like Jorginho would. So I don't know. It's interesting because like there's so many variations to the 4-3-3. So I don't know what kind of variation Allegri is going to use, because if we knew for a fact if it's like a 4-3-3 where you have the defensive midfielder behind the two registas or the Metzalas, I'm sorry, then it's like, okay, you're looking for a more defensive oriented that can exit the ball quicker. Or if you're having one that's playing closer to the number 9, then that changes it entirely. Or even if you have one that's hovering in the middle, it's if we knew which one it was, then I think it might be easier, but there's so many possibilities. So, and it's tough, and it's also really early too. So we don't even know how the team shapes up yet because we haven't even seen them do a preseason game.
Yeah. And even saying, I don't think we need another midfielder. Just give two of our youngsters a chance. I think we do, to be honest.
Yeah,
Depending who will leave. Like, let's say Ramsey will leave, but like he's not even at the club, so forget about it. In terms of, we don't need to include him now to replace him, basically. But let's say Arthur will leave also, because that's what has been rumored. Today there were Rabiot from Mikoshira that he has offers. I still think he's gonna stay. You hear McKennie, the club is open to sell. So basically it's Zakaria and Locatelli at the moment, you know. But let's say we have Locatelli, Zakaria, and McKennie will stay. You know, I think Rabiot was gonna stay, but forget about Rabiot at the moment. Let's say you bring in Pogba. I still think we need two midfielders
yeah,
besides Pogba, so one, and including Miretti. I don't want to see next season. I don't know. Maybe people will say I was controversial because the way we spoke on the channel. I was pushing for Miretti, but I'm not pushing for Miretti and Fagioli. I'm not doing that. You know, I need better. I want to compete now, and if you include Miretti, because again, I'll keep saying it. And maybe people will come back in a few years. I don't think Fagioli's gonna stay. I don't think he's gonna make it at the club, in my opinion. You know, I do believe Miretti's gonna make it. I don't think even
yeah,
Rovella. I think if an offer comes in for Rovella, the club will sell in the summer, or they will think
yeah,
about it seriously. Even for Fagioli, in my opinion. But I don't think they're gonna think about Miretti. Like someone want to buy Miretti. I don't think so. So I need, besides Pogba, I need another one. You know, because I don't want to go into the season next season. Look at the injuries we have. Like Zakaria, it's kind of worrying, in my opinion. It's kind of worrying because he's picking up a lot of injuries. So I'm not sure about that. No problem because he was very cheap. So I'm not complaining about that, by the way. I don't know. And Jeff was saying, why do you always write off Fagioli? The guy already proved he's a solid player. Again, how like I want to ask people, how many games have you watched Fagioli play in Serie B? And answer honest, because I don't think anyone watched more than 4 games. I think that's already a stretch for a lot of people.
yeah. And I think they're going off the stats and the
They're
ratings
going
because,
off,
like, for
and again, he
example,
played well because
yeah,
I watched a few Cremonese games, not all, because I mean, again, I'm not watching Serie B football. I'm sorry, because it's bad. It's not fun to watch most of the time. You know, towards the end, it's more fun. You know, but people say he has proof. And again, if he comes and he joins the teams, I'm not gonna complain. Like I'm not gonna say, "Oh, what a bad decision." But if you bring in nobody else, then yeah. And knowing Allegri, know the club, there will only be place or like space for one player, and that one player should be Miretti, in my opinion. Because again, I'll keep saying it. From what I've seen, I can be completely wrong. During the youth setup, you know, Miretti was just different. Like, and compared to like all the players that came out or like were hyped up, he's different. He's more talented out of all of them. You know, he's
yep.
playing. Well, how old is Fagioli? 21, 22.
I think he's 22.
He's playing Serie B football. Miretti's
Yeah,
18. He's playing Serie A football. People say, oh, it's
yep.
circumstances. The season was over and blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. But I think everybody has seen what Miretti can do for this team. I think everybody has seen that now, no? Because people say, oh, it's no pressure game. For us, no. For the opponents we played, it was pressure games. All of them.
Yeah,
Venezia needed to win.
Lazio
Genoa
needed
needed
to
to win.
win.
Lazio needed to win. Fiorentina needed to win. They all needed to win. For them, it was a pressure game. For us, no, I get it. I get that. But he looked fine. He's not the finished article, which is normal. He's 18. It's the first time in Serie A. So that's fine. Like nobody comes in and looks flawless. No one. So that's fine. But I think there will be only one spot, and that spot for me should be Miretti.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you there because like the thing is like we look at and we compare the season that we had for Fagioli. We had Fagioli that played in the Coppa Italia, which was against a really bad Genoa team, and I think that was really it. Besides some cameo appearances in some other games, where it's like Moretti was put in. Remember how we were talking back then, where we're like, we need to beat Venezia so we can secure top four and then just move on. Well, I mean, he started that game and absolutely played really, really well, and his set pieces were one of the reasons why we scored those two goals. There is, yeah, of course, there is some stuff that Moretti needs to develop. I think some of his positioning needs more work, but I mean, still, like the guy can throw a penetrative pass. He plays really well. Where it's like he convinced, and we can say that, injury crisis and whatnot, but he convinced Allegri to play him and to start him, even though they're meaningless games. He still played against a really good Lazio midfield. I mean, he still played against Fiorentina. I mean, granted, that was the end of the season where we even saw other players that normally wouldn't even see the field join in, but he still played, and it wasn't bad. I mean, there's some aspects to his game to improve on, but yeah, he's 18, so like, I mean, you can't expect him to be a fully complete midfielder. Where it's like I'm underestimating him, but he's got 70% of the 70% of the stuff that you need to be a pro player at the senior level. Where it's like, I think in Fagioli, he's good, but I just don't think he has the raw talent that Miretti has. And I'm kind of curious because if we loan out Fagioli to a Serie A team this season, we'll see how he does there because, it's still a question mark. You can do good in Serie B, but then when you come into Serie A, you can just completely wash out. So it's a different level of competition.
I agree. I agree. And Edgar saying Miretti is not ahead of Fagioli for just playing in Serie A. Miretti is a good player, but Fagioli is more ready to play for Serie B, for Juve. There's also no proof that Fagioli is more ready to play for Juve. Like there's no proof. The proof is he played Serie B football, so people automatically assume he's more ready to play for Juve. That's not the case. Like that's just a feeling. Like I have the feeling that Miretti should be in the team. Like there's no guarantee for anyone. Not what I'm saying, and not what people are saying. Like Fagioli is more ready because he played Serie B football. Like what I'm saying, there's no proof, but also like it's not right and wrong. It's just an opinion. If someone wants Fagioli to say over Miretti, fine. That's your opinion. I'm just saying I don't agree because
Yeah.
Miretti is a better player than Fagioli. Maybe he's not more ready, maybe, but like talent wise, I don't think there's a debate in my opinion. And I'm not saying Fagioli is crap, but Miretti is, compared to him, he's special because again, I've watched the Primavera play a lot in Fagioli's time. He's not like he was good, but he was not Miretti good. Like he was not. You watch the game and was like, who the hell is that guy? Like he's dominating
Hmm.
play for both sides. That's different. That was never Fagioli. He looked good. You can see he can play, but he didn't look Miretti good. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
and the thing is like we don't want people to have the impression that like we're rating Fagioli like a 5 or a 4.
no, no.
Like if you think of it like arbitrarily thinking like Moretti's like an 8.5 and Fagioli's like an 8. So it's like that's kind of how it is, but Moretti's got more of the upside. And there's a comment on there that's saying that Allegri would have probably played Fagioli this season. Well, he didn't keep him. He gave the approval to send him out on loan. So I mean, that kind of tells you what you need to know on that. Where it's like and I think this preseason camp is going to show us because you'll see Ravella, you'll see Fagioli, and you'll see Moretti all play at some point. So, and of course they're going to go on the U.S. tour. So maybe a lot more preseason games. So we're going to see how it all plays out later in the end. But for me, I think against who he's played against in Serie A, I think Moretti has a little bit of a nod versus Fagioli just because he's played against better teams.
Really quickly, like, okay, I'm taking my words back. I'm right. Like because Edgar makes a wild statement saying Fagioli is better than Marquisio. Fagioli is going to be Modric levels. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, based on
I
what
think that's bait.
are you saying he's going to be Modric levels? Based on Serie B football? Like, that's a wild statement to make. It's just because I think Fagioli said he mirrors himself to Modric. So maybe he cloud your judgment a bit because. So I take my words back. You're wrong. I'm right. I'm sorry. Um. So yeah. Let's move on. Because we were talking about Paredes, but let's move on to the left backs because that's something we need to improve definitely. Also, really quickly, Romeo said like I'm pretty sure he said like the club will make like 6 signings this summer. So keep that in mind. Let's say Di Maria and Pogba is done, so 4 to go. Um, but like left back, the list. So Tuto Sports list is saying Emerson, Molina, Lodi, and Windal, which I was confused when I read that. I was confused because I was like, where's Udogie? I was confused. I was actually confused. And then I read Emerson Palmieri. I'm like, no, it makes no sense.
Well, Palmieri makes no sense because they can't sell. There's no one to dictate the sale. So it's like, why is he even on here?
Yeah, but even if there was like, it makes no sense for the club. Like he's 30. Like it's. I think it's an easy name. I'm just hoping it's an easy name, and the club is not even.
Yeah,
Because
that's what I think. That's all I'm thinking. That's
if
my
you
thought
bring in
process.
Emerson Palmieri, it ruins everything he does in the transfer market. I'm sorry, it's pointless. Like then keep Pellegrini, and I don't rate Pellegrini. Just then keep him and Alessandro for 1 more year. I'm sorry, it's just a waste of
Yeah.
money because you need to pay, whatever, like Chelsea. Like he's not a free agent. He's not. You know. Let me see because somebody texted me. It's probably Julian or Justin panicking. Yeah, it's Justin. It's Julian. But yeah, so it's a weird list. I'm gonna say that because I want Udogie. Like I've said it. I said it from the start. I think let's say in January when the names were popping off, I said like I want Udogie. Again, not based on yesterday. He played well yesterday, but like
Yeah,
just
he had a
based on
really good game.
what he showed, and based on what Allegri wants in a left back, like Windal, he's more attacking. Defensively, he's a bit iffy. Not like he's not terrible. I'm not saying that, but Allegri is the coach. He's going nowhere. So you better be defensively solid. Alexandro's not that. Pellegrini is also not that. So that's why the rumors are both need to leave basically. Um, those names, the sport is listening. Palmieri, Molina, Lodi, Windal. I'm going for Molina. Out of those 4, but I want Udogie. What about you?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on there. I think Molina's probably going to be the best option. I don't understand why he's listed as a left back though, because he plays as a right mid or a
No,
right
no, it's.
back for.
I'm sorry. I said left
Oh,
backs,
just
just right left backs. I'm sorry.
oh, I gotcha. Yeah, I would go for him. I don't. For me, it's like I know everyone's kind of high on Lodi, but like for me, dude, whenever we get a Brazilian player linked to Juventus, I get frightened just because it's like they're either going to be really good or they're going to be really bad, and most of the times they end up being really bad. It's just, I think it's just it never just works with the club. I mean, I think Alves was probably the only one that I remember recently that was really good. Like Sandro was good for a year and just dropped completely.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree with that. Jeff is saying nice shirt. Thanks. Link to get him if you want. It's pinned in the comments, so you can get one because people asked for that. So yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to the final department. It's center back, because you need to replace Chiellini. And the names Tutto Sport listed are Kanji, Bremer, Gabriel from Arsenal, Koulibaly, Milankovic, Romagnoli.
Why is Bremer on the list? I mean,
Yeah, but
he's like
like,
what,
so
5%?
you can scratch off Bremer, in my opinion. You can scratch them off the list. Also, Romagnoli, I think he's going Lazio or staying Milan. Akanji, I would scrap that off the list.
Yeah.
I think this is just an easy link. I hope the club's not even thinking about it because he's not that good. I'm sorry. Um, let's say it's Gabriel. To be honest, looking at that list is only Gabriel because again, I will make a video to talk about Koulibaly because I don't think it's possible for some reason. It's possible, but it's also not possible. So out of that list is Gabriel. Like Milankovic for me is like it's mid
It's like a
July. The season's about to start,
Rugani.
and we have no other options. And we're like, "Do you want to come?" He says, "Yes." Okay, let's activate that release clause and get it over with. That's the Milankovic
Yeah.
thing. If the club is like, "It's Milankovic," he's gonna replace Chiellini. I'm like, "Oh boy." Then what's the issue? Then we have an issue. We have an issue if that's what the club is thinking. Then we
Yep.
have serious
No,
problems.
and then with Gabriel, I think that's going to be tied to Arthur. If either it's going to be a swap deal or we sell Arthur for X amount or loan Arthur out to them and they loan Gabriel to us. I think Arthur is going to be the main driver of the Gabriel deal. Or I know like they're saying that Koulibaly is going to be sold for 30 to 40 million, but I think Barcelona has also put in interest for Koulibaly recently. And the other thing too is like, though I think Koulibaly would be a great replacement for Chiellini, but I just don't see Koulibaly wanting to come there. Like, I mean, he's a Neapolitan. I mean, for him, it's almost as bad as Higuain moving to us, but Koulibaly's been there longer, so I think it'd be worse for him if he were to move to Juve. So even though like it's not a bad idea for Koulibaly, I just don't see that practically happening. And then I think the only thing on this list is Gabriel, and I think that's really going to be dictated by how it goes with Arthur and Arsenal. I know that apparently recently that Keane also is there's interest from Arsenal for Moise Keane. So that's the only way I see it, Gabriel moving is if we do something with Arthur or potentially Keane.
Yeah, I think it's tight with Arthur because I don't have the feeling Arsenal want to sell, and I know Saliba's coming back and he's asking to play and stuff like, and they have Ben White, so maybe they need to sell, but I have the feeling Saliba will leave one more time because I don't think Arteta's a big fan of him. He didn't bought him. He was there when he came. They bought him when Emery was the coach, and not even Emery used him to be honest, which is weird because I like him. I wish we were in for him, but we're not. Um, so out of all those names, like we need a center back. I think that's obvious, but we need a good one because I don't trust Bonucci to stay fit for the entirety of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I need to see what we are gonna do. Like the
Yeah,
names,
I mean,
like Bremer is an
yeah,
option, is a good option, like the obvious option, but he's not coming.
yeah. I don't see us being able to go for Bremer. And then the thing too is like Koulibaly's not a bad name on the list, but I just some people are saying in the chat that money is everything in football now. There's no loyalty, but I don't know, man. Like the guy's almost like a saint in Naples. Like if he were to
He
move
is.
here, I think yeah, if he were to move here, that would be yikes. I doubt the fans there would be okay with him doing it. So, and then you also have Barcelona that's looking at him as well. So I don't even see him as a possibility of
I think
moving.
he's gonna stay. I think like
Yeah,
I don't think he's gonna renew, but like who's gonna buy him? And I'm not saying, oh my god, who's gonna buy him? Who wants him? I'm not saying that, but who's gonna buy him? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I think like De Laurentiis was shipping him out. He was basically he's
yeah.
shipping him out. Like he's basically telling the world, please buy him. And Koulibaly is like, let's see what we're gonna do over here. So maybe that's why the rumors are starting because the club he's not willing to renew apparently, and Napoli's not willing to give him the money he's on now, even for a renewal. And he's 1 year left on his deal. Like otherwise, as a club owner, because he came out of De Laurentiis saying, yeah, we're open to sell. Like that's weird in my opinion. No.
Well, I think he doesn't want to have another Insigne or like another why he gave Drez Mertens another contract, but I think he doesn't want to just let these guys walk out without getting anything back for it. Because like Insigne, even though like Insigne is not like an amazing player by any sorts, but like he lost him on a free. So
He did.
in Napoli money wise, they De Laurentiis is good at money management, but for them it's like they're not that good at generating money for transfers. I mean, their big ones were Higuain and Cavani, and then like for them, their biggest generator is transfers, and they need to bring in some capital for them to start investing in their squad because they're you know they don't have as much marketing as the big three in Serie A do, so they have to do it. And I think because do you know what Koulibaly's on? Is he like on 5 or 6 million
Something
or
like
even
that. Six, like
less?
6 million, something like that.
Yeah, so like De Laurentiis didn't want to give Insigne 6 million, and he's their captain, so he's not going to give it to Koulibaly. And then now that it's his last year, he's like, hey, because technically he's rated at what 50, 60 million, so he's like, let me cash in on this 40 million real quick and move on. And it's the De Laurentiis way, so that's it. Doesn't surprise me that he's putting him on there, especially with what happened with Insigne, because you lose Insigne to Toronto for $0. That's not good at all.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually horrendous. That's actually horrendous.
Yeah.
Let me. Oops. Did I help? Okay. I saw. Let me see. And Nina's saying the logo is too much on the side, in my opinion. Yeah, it changed. Like this was a test article. It changed. It's more to the middle now. So that's sorted out. It was just a test article. So yeah. People talking about Dybala. We will talk about Dybala maybe towards the end. It's almost the end, but let me see the comments. Arteta wants a left-footed center back. He doesn't want Saliba there. I mean, he wants a ball-playing center back. That's why they bought Ben White. But defending-wise, he's not good. So defender needs to defend. I'm sorry. Okay, you can be left-footed, but like if you cannot defend, that's your main job still. I keep saying it. People,
Yeah.
you can
I think
have
we're
two
reading
center
this.
backs who can play with the ball. I'm like, but can they defend? And people, football is changing. I agree. You cannot have center backs that can absolutely not play. Like horrendous feet basically, and that's one of them is Chiellini. But yeah, Bonucci. Like if you have two Chiellines at the back, it will be brutal. At this, like during this period, it will be brutal in my opinion. That's why I don't think Demiral Chiellini, because that was basically the talk at the beginning. Oh, they need to play together. I'm like, maybe it sounds great in your head, like
Yeah.
the green
I
top, but
never.
like I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah, I never got the hype on Demiral. Like for me, he died that Porto game where he gave up that stupid penalty. Where I'm like, I don't want this guy anymore. Get rid of him.
It's like saying even at 7 million, he's really a top three defender in the league for the last 6 years. Koulibaly easily. It's
Yeah, he's
just
he's really good.
I don't believe the 30 million price tag. I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry.
Yeah,
If
that
Barca
that
and PSG are in for him, the price will go up because they need
yeah.
center backs. Even Chelsea
And
are in for him, they need center backs, so their price will go up because
yeah,
they're competing with each other and they're desperate for a center back, especially Chelsea. Like they have nobody left. Like, nobody. They have what's the name? What's the guy's name? Chalobah. That's the only one
yep.
they have left at the moment. Christensen left. Rudiger left.
Aspilicueta is leaving. I
Aspilicueta is
think
still Alonso left back, but like
yeah,
they need center backs desperately. They're linked with Kunde and all those things. But like if they hear Koulibaly is available, I think they're gonna go for it.
yeah. I think they're going to be the ones that overpay for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you're desperate, that's what you do. Like that's how it
Yep.
works. It's like us with Keane. We were desperate and we overpaid because we had the season was about to start. It started basically, and Ronaldo said I'm gone. Like screw you, and we overpaid for Keane. So that's that. So not really breaking news today. We did that listing again, like it's Super Sport, whatever. But let's see how that will develop. Someone said Romeo mentioned Emerson's YouTube video he did, but like, that name gets mentioned every season, so that's why I'm so having some hopes. That it's not
Yeah.
gonna happen.
We got
Basically,
one question. What's going on with Gatti? Well, Gatti's going to come during preseason camp and he's going to get evaluated
I
there.
think
So,
he's not gonna stay.
yeah, I don't think so either.
His only hope is if Rugani leaves, he can take that spot, but we cannot bank our hopes on Kati or Rugani next season. And again, because I think Bonucci will be kind of injury prone also next season, so I don't think we can do that.
I personally think Bonucci's going to have a terrible year next season, like a horror year.
That's nice.
I'm sorry. For me, like it's Bonucci's only as good as much as Delict will be able to cover him. For me, he never struck me as the guy that leads a defense. On like that season with Milan was enough evidence for me with him and Romagnoli. So that's why I'm just like absolutely terrified that he's the guy that has the keys to the defense.
I agree. I agree, but uh, I mean, I don't think he's gonna have. I think he's gonna drop off even more. I'm not saying he's gonna have a horrible season like you were saying, but I think he's gonna drop off even more. Like the decline is kind of obvious. Um. Okay. Guys, like the video if you haven't. Marino saying, do you expect breaking news tomorrow regarding Pogba? Not really, in my opinion. Otherwise, you would have heard today there's a meeting tomorrow. So I don't think so. I think towards the end of the week more. We're gonna move on, and then we're gonna wrap it up because I need to record another video before I go to bed. Dybala. Again, he's not our player anymore. But I remember like people unsubscribed to the channel because what Julian said about Dybala. He wasn't disrespectful. Like he didn't call out Dybala. He just gave his honest opinion. It looks like he's gonna join Inter basically. Like I don't say it's done, but like everything points towards he's joining Inter. Okay, I will say my thing, and then you can go. First of all, I think the issue is people put him on a pedestal where he shouldn't be. Like again, some people put him in the same category as a captain as Buffon, Del Piero, Chiellini. Dybala, 7 years at the club, never the captain of the team. Never. It's not that he wore the armband that he's the captain. Alexandro wore it. Like everybody. Like I don't think like 60% of the team at one point had the captaincy armband wrapped around his arm during a game. That means absolutely nothing, especially with Allegri. It's just take it, basically. So that means nothing. He's not a leader. Buffon basically said that. Not with those words, but like you can read between the lines. He basically said he's not that guy. He said he needs to become that guy, especially at his age. This is the moment, but he's not that guy. So that was kind of damning, in my opinion, when he said that. So that's that. I think that's where the problems are. Now, I know for a lot of people he was their Del Piero because of the age. Some haven't watched Del Piero as much as I did. They almost watch more Dybala, so I get that. But it's still not the same. One played 7, the other double. And even on the day of the farewell, people were saying, "Oh, it's all about Chiellini." Yeah, it is.
It should be.
Like he played 2 decades almost at the club. Like let's be real over here. It shouldn't be a Dybala farewell. It should be a Chiellini farewell. Also because Chiellini is done. He's going to the MLS. It's done, and then he's coming back. Dybala can still play for like 7 years at least. So that's different. I think that's where the issue starts. Now people are turning on him. Ah, traitor. I'm not calling it traitor. He's a free agent. We kind of treated him as trash. Like we tried to sell him ever since at Lukaku, Tottenham, all those things. So I'm not blaming him. If he joins Inter, good for him. Like I wish you good health. I wish you a lot of bad luck on the field, not injuries wise, but not winning stuff. If he thinks that joining Inter is the best thing for his career, that's good for him. I think it's a weird move because you're not gonna win something you haven't won, so it's a weird one. But I also think that tells something about who he is. And I circle back to Buffon's comment in terms of he's not a leader, like he's a bit timid. I'm like, you're going the easy route again, in my opinion. So I'm not gonna calling a traitor because I never put him on that pedestal. So I'm fine. Like I never said that. And even if he didn't join Inter, I still wouldn't put him on that pedestal because that was absolutely insane. And people believe that, you know. And someone said, "Oh, but you haven't watched him like I did. You watch those other people longer." I'm like, fair, still not true. Like, it's not because you haven't watched those players play that you can do that. You know, then you need to listen to basically people who have watched both of them play or all of them play. So I don't know. Again, I don't care if he joins Inter. Like, I'm not. If I'm gonna say it, I'm not gonna boo him or like. It's not that. It's not that he was playing for us, 3-year contract, and he said, "Sell me to Inter." You know, that's different. He's a free agent. We said, "Leave us." He's free to do whatever he wants. You know, so I'm not gonna blame him if he joins Inter. Um, you go.
Yeah. All right. So I'll go on my spiel, but I'm kind of curious to get the chat's input on this. So like people still watching right now, comment a Dybala moment because I want to see if there's a little bit of correlation with my thoughts. So like comment the most memorable Dybala moments that you guys had with him. But so going on my take, I don't really care with him gone per se, because I mean, again, he's a free agent. He can sign wherever he wants. People are saying that, oh, well, he chose to go to Inter, but Inter might be the only club that actually gave him a deal, money-wise, that works for him. So, I mean, I think that's the only club that was going to offer him. I believe it was the $7 million that he wanted, because I don't think Roma is going to be able to offer him that much because they don't have the financial capabilities to go that high. And then I think your bigger clubs in Europe aren't going to give him that big contract or give him, because the thing is like, I don't know how true it was, but they were saying that part of the deal with Inter was that Dybala was going to be one of the main guys in the project. So yeah, that's I think one of the things where where it's kind of like pulling him towards Inter per se. For me, my issue with Dybala is like he was a great player, but I noticed it was one of those things that I noticed that like he was great, but he was never really there when you needed him. Like for example, his first season, he missed the second leg against Bayern Munich. Like he didn't play due to injury. In the final in the Champions League the following season against Real Madrid, I mean, it was Mandzukic and Higuain that helped bring in that goal to tie it up at halftime, and then the team completely futtered after, and it just flopped. And then like the year after that, the red card or the two yellows in the home game against Real Madrid, where that completely just botched our chance of qualifying and put us a man down and gave them the ability to go up 3-0 on us. And then like when Ronaldo came, Ronaldo absolutely, or he just, I think he crumbled mentally when Ronaldo came in. He kind of had a resurgence with Sarri, but then like with Pirlo, it just was like, and it went from there. And the thing for me is like, and Justin and I touched on it when we did a live, was that we were asking a lot of the people in the chat to like tell us, you know, when they became Juve fans and when they started watching it, and a lot of people that we saw were the ones that were watching from 2012 onward. So, they haven't had that much of an experience with us seeing like but well, I mean, you saw Buffon, but like for example, Del Piero, Nedved, Zidane, and all those guys, where some of us have, and it's like for me, the reason why I never put Dybala onto that like top tier level was just because like, and my little experiment was right, because I'm reading the chat and everyone's saying the brace against Barca and then the game against Tottenham. We got a couple of outliers with Lazio and Napoli games, but like Dybala was only there for one or two moments, and he was a passenger. For me, like every season, Dybala was the passenger, never the protagonist. Where it's like when Higuain came in, Higuain was the protagonist in the offense. Dybala kind of supplemented or played off him. When Ronaldo came in, Dybala went into Ronaldo's shadow. And it's like this year when it was all lights on Dybala, he stuttered. Like you can look up the season stats where games that Dybala played and games that Dybala didn't play. We had a better win percentage the games that he wasn't there. And the thing is like too, and the next thing that I look at it is I also look at Argentina as well, where Dybala wasn't able to fight for a spot in Argentina, and I don't care what anyone says. I think this latest gen of Argentinian players is like the worst Argentina we've seen in a while. I mean, yeah, they won Copa America, but like Kumble is not what it was. The South American teams are not as good as what they used to
It's a
be,
bit down in
or
quality.
yeah, it's dropped. So like the fact that Dybala wasn't able to get a spot on that team, and he's had 7 years of opportunity to play on Argentina, and he barely gets into it. I mean, you'll see him in a friendly or a World Cup qualifying match. That's it. But as far as major tournaments go, I mean, he hasn't made a single major tournament roster, and if he has, he's barely even played. So, like for example, his best season was 2017, 2018, and I don't even think he made the World Cup squad for Argentina, and that was notoriously bad Argentina that went to that World Cup too. So it's like for me, I understand where like some of the fans were upset and crying about him leaving, just because that's really he's one of the only offensive players that they've known that have been at the club for so long. But like, if we look at it, where it's like for me and for others that have seen the club for a really long time, and we've seen our fair share of players and moments where it's like the dude was just a passenger, man. Like it wasn't like he was the there all be all. Where it's like he never, and you can say that he won the Scudetto with us, but he was never at once the top scorer. He never was the top assist maker, and like everyone would always say that it's his off the ball movements and stuff. And you look at Dybala play, like even now, like Dybala, he frustrates me because like tactically he never made sense as a player. He would literally just hug the right side of the field and that's it. And it's like
But that's
I
why
remember, yeah.
we were trying to move him on, because like finding his position is very not difficult, but like it's not difficult. You know what his position. You know how, because Allegri utilized him, before, and it worked. But I think he's moving a different direction. That's why, circling back to Hanin's comment saying, "Are we sure it's a 4-3?" I'm pretty sure. Otherwise, you keep Dybala. Um, so
Yeah.
I think that's also Nico Shira, because we talk about it. He said not only Paul Pogba, Cherubini has talked in the last days with the agents of Thomas Partey. Juve are monitoring Arsenal's midfielder. If I don't know, that's some bad English. Let me see. If Arthur leaves, and one between Rabiot and McKennie. Uh, so yeah, we're kind of in for him. Um, I don't know what to think about that.
Yeah.
I never was a big fan of Thomas Partey. Not even when he was at Atletico. I know he played those good games in the Champions League, uh, but his injury track record is abysmal. It's absolutely horrible. Like I don't get it, And I tweeted immediately out, like, between Zakaria at the moment, Pogba, and Partey, if you get 100 games, it's already great, and that's not the way we need to go. I'm sorry. That's not the way you bring Pogba. That's a risk, because you know what his track record is last 2 years. You don't need to bring in Thomas. I don't think we need Thomas Partey.
No, and you can only afford one of those injury-prone players. You don't want to take on two and hope that, they both work out because like the thing is like you can take in Pogba and take that as a risk. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But if you take two players like that with injury issues, you're going to put yourself in a really big hole offensive or playing on as far as personnel wise because you can plug and play one midfielder, but if you have to do two, and say hypothetically that Thomas and Pogba are both in theory starters, so that means you're going to have to fill a really big hole with two of your main, because again, we're running a 4-3-3, so you're going to have to fill in two of those midfielders, and that's going to be an issue. Whereas like if you have one, it's okay, you can adjust, you'll be able to have the ability to adjust, but if you have two, then that's not good.
No, it's actually a bit worrying, because it's a good source. It's not good. I'm not gonna lie. But let's keep an eye on that. I think those things are for more during like further ahead in the transfer window, because again, it's May. I keep saying it. It's okay. It's June. It's almost June, but it's May. Like normally you don't have this in May. Pogba, Di Maria. Like it's already a lot. So let's see how that will develop. Let's see tomorrow, because somebody asked, "Do you expect tomorrow some news?" Not really. Hanina is saying, oops, I was all it was always ups and downs with Dybala, especially because his inflexible uh, positionally. My biggest issue with Dybala is big games, Champions League games. Somehow he missed a lot of them. His track record and knockout round is horrible for someone with his talent, his potential. It's actually horrendous.
Yeah, he was at
It's
Neymar's
shocking.
sister's birthday parties.
Yeah, like it's absolutely shocking. Let me see. Hanin saying party doesn't make sense. Oh, he's physical, so it kind of makes sense, knowing that Allegri is a coach. But like, we need something different. Like, I'm sorry. Like, and again, maybe I'm biased because I don't like Party. I actually don't like him as a player. I don't. I don't. I think he's a bit overrated, just because of that Champions League run. Again, he was very good in that Champions League run season when Arsenal bought it. But no. And again, when he played for Arsenal this season, he was actually very good. But I keep saying when. Like, that's not like if we had this season where like, oh, 6 players unavailable, 3 back, 3 out again. Like, it was a mess. I don't want that next season. I don't want that. Crazy Racing, if we bring Thomas, the only party will be in J. We will have is in J Medical. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's not good. We shouldn't be linked with those players. I'm sorry.
And then there's some other comments here that are saying that, yeah, I hate when Dybala hugs the right side. And then another one that says Messi didn't want him in Argentina. Yeah, that's the reason why Messi didn't want him on Argentina, was that for that specific reason, that he would just essentially try to copy what Messi does and didn't offer anything else. Because I mean, it's that thing. I mean, I hate to wail on Dybala, but I'm also curious to see how he's going to play with Inter. If he's going to play centrally or if he's going to hug that right side.
He's going to play up top. There's no other position. Like, looking at Inzaghi's team, he's gonna play up top with maybe Lautaro, because apparently they need money, so they need to sell someone. I don't know who they're gonna sell. Maybe De Vrij, but like it's not gonna change things. Skriniar, I don't think Tottenham are in at the moment. Maybe Chelsea get desperate, but they need to sell someone apparently. But yeah,
yeah, and if I were Chelsea, I'd go to Inter and buy one of their players, because Chelsea plays with a back three. So I would assume that one of them gets poached.
Yeah. But let's see how that will develop. We're gonna wrap it up for now. Somebody asked where's Justin. He's out. He's also out tomorrow.
I kidnapped him, everybody.
But he will be back on Wednesday because I'm out, so they need to take care of the channel. Let me see. How many likes do we have?
We have
37, so that's not enough. At least 40. So if you're still in the chat, please like the video, because that will help us out a lot.
Right, so there's a comment. Can we still get Sergey? Most likely not. Just because, one, there's other teams that want him, and that's going to drive the price up. And also, I think that Lotito is not going to sell to us, even regardless. I think Lotito would rather have him leave on a free than him sell Sergey to us. So.
And this one, and then we'll wrap it up really quickly. Chris Ray, I commented this earlier, but what do you think about Zakaria at center back? I don't want to think about it. Just forget about it. Don't do it. Like, I've seen Danilo play center back. He did all right, but like that was already my limit. I'm not going with Zakaria at center back.
I'm only okay with a left back or a right back playing center back if everybody's injured. I just don't think we should ever take a midfielder and put them in as a center back, because I'll say this: being a midfielder or going in as even if you're a defensive midfielder, compared to a center back, is a totally different ball game as far as positioning wise, anticipation, and also a lot of midfielders aren't really willing to take hits as a center back, where you need to be aggressive and you need to be able to take a challenge or give a challenge, as well as timing your challenges, as well as also nowadays you have to go in a challenge with your hands behind your back like this as well. So. Yeah, for me, the only time I would ever see someone out of position would be a left back or right back go into that position, just because they already are defenders. But to throw in a midfielder, that's like if I decide to take De Ligt and throw him in Vlahovic's spot, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, really quickly, and then we'll wrap it up because Pedula spoke. So I'm just opening his article now. He's saying, I have confirmation that the club likes Kostic. it's a track, like a player or a deal that can be, not done, but like could pick up in the next couple of days, few days, that you will hear more about that. Because Allegri likes him, and English clubs are also interested in him. Frankfurt will want around 50 million euros. So nothing news, nothing big. That was news from the morning. If you get Di Maria, I want someone younger on the other side. That's just my opinion. And I like
Yeah.
Kostic. I've said it before, but like it's too much. Like Di Maria, Pogba, Kostic. At some point, you need to do something else. And then if you hear
Well,
Emerson Palmieri, I'm like, what the hell are we doing? I get 2, but not 5, 6. It needs to be someone else. But let's see in the coming days.
yeah, and the thing with Kostic is that I have the fear that if we were to go in for him, we're going to be forced to overpay because there's a lot of Premier League teams that want him as well. And, for most Premier League teams, spending 20, 25 million is like the equivalence of like 5 million for them. So like
But
if
he
it's
doesn't want the Premier League, and from what I've read, from German outlets, Frankfurt is willing to cooperate because of what he has done in the past. Saying no to teams and staying. So I don't think really it's a problem. Also, English teams, there's interest. Nobody mentioned the specific team, so you kind of know what that means. But let's see how that will develop in the next couple of days. Thanks everybody for watching. If you haven't, go watch Justin's daily video where we also spoke about Kostic. We will be back tomorrow, daily in the morning and live in the evening. I think, yeah, it's me. I'm on the schedule, so I will be live tomorrow. I don't know with who. It's gonna be a surprise. Dash, thanks for joining today.
Yep.
Maybe I'll see you back tomorrow. Let's see. People in the chat, if you haven't, like, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you back tomorrow.